Well, our final bit of news here is something that just kind of was making the rounds a lot today, the day we're recording this, that is on Monday, and kind of throws a wrench in a little bit in our discussion, but we're going to have it now. And that is that a lot of people, insiders and leakers, are saying that there is going to be a Nintendo Direct happening this week, specifically Thursday, presumably related to original Switch 1, whatever we're calling it, games and such. And I think what's lending a lot of credence for me, and I'm sure some of us here, is Nate the Hate, who has a really good track record on, saying these sorts of things, has said that it is a direct and it is happening Thursday.
Or around Thursday.
Or around Thursday.
On or around Thursday. Is what
he's really specific usually, and I think it's always good to pay attention to his wording, so that's good clarification.
Yeah. But in addition, I mean, he didn't say, I've heard that there might be a direct. He said there is a presentation this week, right? So it's like, I'm kind of mad. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Come on, Nate.
No, I mean, Nate's just reporting it like he sees it. And like, there is no reason at this point to ever distrust Nate the Hate. Like, I feel like he's been wrong maybe once or twice. Like, and specifically recently with all the most recent direct stuff, like whoever he's got on the inside has not really steered him wrong.
And I'll also say the few times he's been wrong has usually been something that bore out to be true later. Maybe he's been wrong straight up before, but some of the stuff he's said. But anyway, that's beside the point. Let's just assume for a minute that this is true, because I think it's very likely. Obviously, that means people listening to this will probably know. So we don't have to spend a lot of time about like whether or not it's real. What do y'all think? Like a mini?
Yeah. I mean, what my initial thought is that if this is true, I kind of don't see it being a partner showcase, because I feel like most third-party partners are going to want to save their games for Switch 2, because most of the new games that are going to be coming out from third-party partners are not going to play very well on the original Switch. You know, we're seeing that already with the Steam Deck, right? It's like, I feel like a lot of the games that are coming out that I'm actually like pretty excited about, I'm finally like not really able to play on my Steam Deck in any like good capacity, right? So certainly the Switch is going to have a hard time with like newer AAA games, and we'll be talking about that in the main topic here when we talk about Switch 2 predictions. But I think that this is saying to me that the Switch 2 Direct will have nothing about Switch 1 games in it, and that'll be entirely Switch 2 focused, right? Like, because I kind of thought it might be a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, and kind of be this bigger presentation. But it feels like maybe they're splitting up what would have been a bigger Direct into these two separate presentations. Yeah, I've got more I could say, but I want to get y'all's thoughts on it first.
I'll just briefly say that I agree. I think that's what I see that making sense, because when we were going to plan for talking about this, in the Switch 2 Direct, I was thinking, what are they going to announce for Switch 1? And are they going how are they going to fit in Metroid Prime 4 Beyond? But I think this is the solution, that they just break out stuff that is obviously anything that can be played on Switch 1 can be played on Switch 2, but anything that's kind of aimed at Switch 1 or players is going to be here. And maybe that's why I think it's a mini. And I think the focus is Metroid Prime, and we date it, and we have like one or two remasters, remakes that
Shadow Drop, maybe.
Yeah. And like maybe some NSO news or something. I don't even know. And it's just kind of a short 20-minute thing about those things. And maybe there is some third-party stuff, but it's more like, classic collection type stuff that isn't new, if you will, per se.
UFO 50.
Yeah, maybe.
My headcanon with UFO 50 is still that they're holding it for the Switch 2 because they're going to make a physical dock container of the classic console that the Switch 2 will slide into, and it'll become the UFO 50 experience. But you don't want to do that for the Switch 1 because Switch 2 is coming out. It's got a different form factor.
Yeah, you're right.
But do you believe this summer? Like, what do you think we'd see here?
I mean, like you guys were saying, not really a reason to not believe Nate the Hate, but also we have been told that there would be directs in the past, and then it ended up being like the Alarmo and the music app, right?
Right.
So
totally.
maybe this is just like in addition to Donkey Kong, we're also getting a Piranha Plant ride at the theme park or something. Like,
Sure.
I'll take it.
Right? It might not even have anything to do with games. It could be Nintendo coffee pot I was talking about the last time we talked about predictions. I don't know. Time to start getting our themed game beans. Let's go.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, it isn't on the news, but Alarmo did get a big update actually this past week. I'm not joking. It was like sleep sounds were extended from 5 minutes to up to an hour, which is awesome because the sleep sounds are actually really nice on Alarmo, and a bunch of really cool updates. So definitely stuff is happening, but I mean that wasn't saved for a direct, So it's like I think you might be onto something, though. I think that they might be doing a video on their new store, the San Francisco store, which is coming out May 15th.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
It could just be that. Yeah.
It could be something kind of like that.
Right? Because they've done announcement videos for like the museum and you're right.
Right. And it's not, it's like they've got a lot of stores in Japan, but not very many in the US. So I could kind of see them doing something there. Yeah, I don't know. I do think that there is still a lot to announce with the Switch One. And I would imagine that most of the directs going forward are going to be a combination of games that are coming out for Switch 1 and are backwards compatible on Switch 2 and exclusive for Switch 2. And they'll just have some kind of nomenclature within them. But I think it would make sense to kind of split off Switch 2 stuff. If I'm just daydreaming here, what I'd love to see, obviously, I think Metroid Prime. I think I'd love to see a shadow drop of 2 and 3 with a release date for 4 or something similar to that. We've talked about it before, but I think a Ring Fit Adventure sequel would definitely behoove them. Maybe this is kind of like also where they talk about some new NSO stuff. And then next week, they kind of like expand on it even further. It does seem weird that they pushed the February Direct so far back.
Yeah, and just to give it a little more credence too, when you look at, the announcements about the April 2nd Direct, they are very much labeled as like Nintendo Switch 2, offering a closer look at Nintendo Switch 2. It is called the Nintendo Direct : Nintendo Switch 2 on their website and stuff like that. So I guess I just assumed there would be, stuff relevant to the Switch, but kind of this could make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and there's precedent for it too. I think before, maybe it was 2015. There was a big E3 presentation, and a week before they dropped a Direct as well. So it's not like completely unheard of that this would happen. It's just, in the kind of modern era, it's a little odd. It
is weird. I think if they're going to talk about Switch 1, it's going to be like a goodbye. It's like this is the last we're going to talk about Switch 1 games.
It just plays Pikachu's goodbye from the anime.
Because
it just gets really sad.
It wasn't there like a recent Direct that felt like that? Like it was, we're getting all the Switch 1 stuff out of the way before we start talking about the Switch 2.
Yeah, but it might be even more on the nose of what it might like actually be we're sending off here are all the memories we've had with the Switch. Like
that's kind of what I think it could be.
Wow.
I mean,
we'll see. I'm not Nate.
I'd love to see Doug Bowser chop a Switch in half with a katana.
I'd like to see him do anything, man.
Yeah, right. It would be nice to see him do anything. You're right.
It'd be nice if he showed up to work.
Yeah.
Reggie Fils-Aimé, he is not. But I think that they will be continuing support for the Switch for several years, like the original Switch, right? Like I think that there will be lots of stuff that comes out for the original Switch. For a while. And I think that they want the Switch to be the best-selling console of all time. And I think that if they continue supporting it, they drop the price, which maybe this was the point where they announce a price drop for the Switch 1. That would also make a lot of sense. But, if they do that, I think that it's inevitable that they will hit that number.